Good morning!
Early in the morning, the doorbell chimed, so I went to open it, and there I saw Ageha. What are you doing here?
So, you really are the dorm mother.
She remarked as she saw me wearing an apron.
This place, it's the witch's mansion, isn't it? It's a student dormitory for our school, huh?
Ageha focused on the words student dormitory, as if questioning their suitability, as she gazed at the magnificent entrance. I was surprised too, to think that I'd become the caretaker of the place that we used to sneak into when we were kids.
It's nice. I might like to live here too. If I were living with you, Aoi, it would definitely be fun.
Why did you come here? I asked, while I guessed that perhaps she had come to invite me to walk to school with her. She is, after all, my #1 best friend.
Oh yeah. I came to ask Kotori to come to school with me.
I was wrong. Miss Alul?
Who's Miss Alul?
No, it's nothing. While blushing due to misunderstanding, I looked back towards Kotori's room. It looks like she still hasn't woken up. Even if she gets up now and takes her time eating breakfast, she can still make it with time to spare.
I see. Alright, I'll wait here. Thanks for the food.
There's still some left.
Sorry, but I can't eat this much this early in the morning.
You're joking, right? I only gave you a little bit.
Even people in sports clubs don't eat a huge bowl of Neapolitan pasta in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Kaneko ate the whole thing this morning, though. How was the taste?
It was tasty.
Really?
Yeah, really, but there was a lot of it, so I got tired of eating it halfway through.
With good food, it tastes good no matter how much you eat.
You've always had an unrefined palate, haven't you?
An unrefined palate. The shock hit me like a bolt of lightning. I hung my head in dismay.
Why are you so shocked?
The truth is, Ageha had revealed the reason why. Since yesterday, the boarders hadn't been eating my cooking properly. I thought I'd ask her opinion, which is why I made Ageha some food and got her to eat it. It was made from leftover ingredients anyway.
Eating things like pork fried with ginger or Neapolitan pasta in the morning? It's unlikely that girls would accept that kind of food. What about something more refreshing? If you're gonna make pasta, why not try tomato sauce or Japanese style?
Cooking for girls is so difficult. Boy or girl, we're all human. Tasty is tasty. That's what I believed. Just as I was seriously troubled by this, I heard the squeaking of turning wheels coming from down the hallway. First, Hat the Duck came into the dining hall. Then Kotori came in after him. It's the opposite of usual.
Why do I have to?
Kotori rubbed her sleepy eyes and started preparing Hat's food. It somehow looked as if the hungry Hat had woken her up.
There, eat your fill and get nice and fat. Sooner or later, I'm gonna eat you! What?
Not understanding her words, Hat quacks happily as Kotori speaks to him and eats his food.
It's a duck! How cute!
Huh?
Kotori notices that Ageha is here and instantly opens her eyes.
This is a pet duck, isn't it? I've seen one in a TV commercial. Is it yours, Kotori?
He just decided to live in my room, that's all. Why are you here?
Kotori, you've been off school for way too long. I came to see how you are. Do you feel better now?
The teacher or someone asked you to do this, didn't they?
No, they didn't actually. Hey, shall we go to school together?
Who'd want to go with you?
Kotori gave a and made another one of those straight faces she's so good at.
But if you take too much time off, you'll get behind in lessons.
I don't think it has anything to do with you.
Well, that's true. You're right. I'm sorry.
Who said I was taking a day off today? Don't get the wrong idea. The reason I'm going isn't because you asked me to.
Okay then. Alright, I'll wait for you.
I never said I was going with you. I'll go by myself.
Kotori said with a straight face, then turned her wheelchair around. Just as she was about to leave, she stopped the wheelchair and turned around.
You two, do you know each other?
Huh? Yeah, we're childhood friends.
What a pair of idiots.
It looks like she had even more of a bad attitude this morning. However, she did say she was going to school. After tidying up the breakfast things, I left the dormitory with Ageha. On our way to school, somehow our conversation turned to Kotori. Is there a reason why Kotori stopped coming to school?
Yeah, I guess there is. Kotori has a walking disability, right? When we joined the same class in the 2nd grade, it seemed like she wasn't really into it.
That's so like Ageha to worry about that sort of thing. If there are any people who don't really fit into the group or are left out, she won't just ignore them. In the past, that's why we started a play with Maabo. So it could have been for the same reason.
But for Kotori to be like that, to put it bluntly, it seems like she doesn't really want to fit in.
Yeah, I can imagine that somehow.
When the other girls in the class saw me with Kotori like that, they just got angry. That's when they started to object to Kotori. It became a big battle in the class versus Kotori.
When Ageha reminded herself of what happened back then, she warily slouched forward. Ageha is cheerful and has many friends. Kotori, who didn't respond to Ageha's concerns about her, might have been seen as the one in the wrong by those around them. Since then, she's stopped coming to school?
That's right. You know, back then Kotori was amazing. She faced up to all the girls in the class and didn't back down at all.
Ageha is waving her arms around like someone from a kung fu movie and passionately tells her story. I decided not to ask her what heroic deeds took place or for any specific details. Well, I didn't expect that. Even just by saying something in a slightly harsh way, she gets all tearful.
Why did Kotori come to our school?
Huh?
You know, she doesn't enjoy the lessons and doesn't try to make new friends.
The only reason I can think of is that it might be because it has full disabled access. In fact, it could be the main reason.
Sheesh, I've got to do something about this.
Looking at Ageha from the side as she puts her hands behind her head and starts thinking things over. I remember the withdrawal notice that I picked up last night. In the spur of the moment, I decided not to give it back and acted like I knew nothing about it. Is she really planning to drop out? Somehow it felt like I had picked up some heavy piece of lost property. The two of us both made troubled faces as we walked. A quiet, strange commotion surrounded us. Huh? Most of the other students around us on their way to school were looking in the same direction. Over there was a tall, slender, beautiful girl walking along. Oh, it's her! It was the girl I met in the garage. Everyone was looking at her with curiosity, but it seems that she hadn't noticed the other people were looking at her. I was looking at her in the same way as everyone else, but Ageha took the way I was looking in the wrong way.
Oh, as I thought, you have high standards. That girl is really famous in our school. The super repeat student senior, Amane Mochizuki.
Super repeat student?
Yeah, she's repeated the same school year several times.
Is she that stupid? She doesn't look it, though.
If I had to say one way or the other, I'd say she's a genius. It's way beyond the level of her having the best scores or anything like that. Rather, the teachers have nothing more to teach her. In fact, they sometimes go to learn from her, it seems.
Cleverer than the teachers? Does our school really deal in such specialized fields?
Despite that, she doesn't graduate and stays in school. She plans a way to drop credits and intentionally repeats the year. Originally, she was repeating the year more times than the school rules allow. So that's why she's the super repeat student. But it's strange. To see her on her way to school in the morning?
I don't know if she's a genius or not, but she definitely seems like a pretty weird person. Then, abruptly, super repeat student Amane Mochizuki stopped walking and looked up at the sky. Everyone else mimicked her and looked up too. A jet plane flying through the blue sky, pulling its vapor trail along behind it.
Wow.
Everyone soon realized it was a plane and quickly lost interest and started walking again. However, Amane Mochizuki kept on standing there, looking up at the plane flying high in the sky. When people came from behind and avoided her like she was in their way, she didn't pay any attention to them either.
Let's go.
Sure. Kotori arrived just as our morning homeroom class had finished.
Sorry I'm late.
Kotori, do you feel better now?
Yes, thankfully.
I see. I was worried about you.
Kotori went past the homeroom teacher, who seemed bewildered that she had come back to school all of a sudden. Then, still in her wheelchair, arrived at her desk. The desk right at the front was the only one that didn't have a chair. Everyone looked puzzled.
I'm not an animal in a zoo.
Now that Kotori was in school, she started her cool allure routine again. She concentrated during the lesson and answered the teacher's question easily when asked. It seems like her grades in regular subjects are top class. During recess, she sat at her desk, reading a book or going off somewhere. She didn't even try to talk to anyone. And even if Ageha tried to speak to her, she acted like she hadn't noticed. The other girls in the class looked like they were worried about how they should treat her, and watched her from a distance. During gym class, the way she looked on, bored, left an impression on me. She always looked like she was all alone, and didn't seem to be enjoying herself very much. Hey, Kotori! At lunchtime, I found Kotori carrying her bag, about to leave the classroom, and chased her down the hallway. It's lunchtime, you know. What are you doing? Suddenly, Kotori dashed away at unbelievable speed. Hey! In the heat of the moment, I tried to chase her, but I thought I would bump into passing students, and I was too slow to start moving. In the meantime, Kotori had already gotten inside the elevator. According to school rules, most students are not allowed to use the elevator. It was only supposed to be used by workers or teachers carrying big loads, or disabled students like Kotori. Even so, I chased after her, only for the doors to close mercilessly in front of me.
Blah.
Through the glass, the one with the self-proclaimed cool allure stuck her tongue out and headed to the floor below as I stood and watched. You're not getting away! I ran and made it to the school gates. She was holding her bag. It seemed like she was trying to leave early, so I went to cut her off. However, I can't deny that the possibility that her lunch is in the bag. Maybe I got the wrong idea. If that's not it, then what could be the problem? I watched over the school gates like some guardian statue. I was crushed by something in the back. In other words, from outside the school gates.
Whoa!
Ouch, what was that? I got up and felt like I was crawling out from under an avalanche. Then I saw a big cardboard box and a girl that had fallen over. Are you okay?
Ow, ow, ow. I'm okay. I'm sorry, but I couldn't see ahead of me because of the box I was carrying.
Oh, I looked up, and as I got up, without thinking, I thought I was going to say, the super repeat student, but I held my tongue.
How about you? You're not hurt, are you?
I'm alright.
I see. That's good.
As she said that, the super repeating super senior holds on to the big cardboard box.
My stomach.
She went to lift it up, but then Senior Amane Mochizuki slumped down, exhausted.
Due to an empty stomach, my short-term performance has been significantly reduced.
I'll help you carry it. Huh? It's so heavy! The big cardboard box is incredibly heavy.
It's fine. I can carry it by myself.
Come on, it's no big deal, I said as I went to pick it up anyway.
Thanks.
Is this okay here? I don't know what's in it, but we put the cardboard box on the floor.
Sorry about that. Thanks for helping.
It's alright. Anyway, Senior, if you're hungry... She stared towards the inside of the garage. Senior? I find myself copying her and looking in the same direction. Inside was Kotori. What's she doing here? She's by the big thing placed in the center of the garage and is trying to lift up the sheet to see what's underneath.
Are you interested in that?
Kotori is surprised when Amane speaks to her. Kotori seems intimidated and nods. Amane vigorously pulls back the sheet. Inside is a white, streamlined aircraft. Kotori looked at it, dazed. I said, wow, as I let a small surprised sound slip out.
Could this be a glider?
Yes, it is.
Amane nodded, and Kotori cautiously moved her head closer to the aircraft. Even in the dimly lit garage, the glider's white body had a glossy shine to it, and faintly reflected Kotori's face. I moved towards it to take a closer look. Is this the one we saw from Windmill Hill?
Yeah, it could be.
The smooth surface looks like it was made from plastic. However, it is hard to the touch. The wings had been removed for now. It was just the body.
So this is what the cockpit's like.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Huh?
Huh?
We'd started talking to each other at some point, but then finally realized who it was we were talking to. Hey you, why were you running away just now? She calmly ignores my question, but then hurriedly tries to escape, so I go ahead to block her. I won't let you get away! Why? What did you come here for? You're not here to eat lunch, are you?
There was some mean guy guarding the school gates, so I came to hide in here.
So she really was trying to leave early.
Do you know her?
Amane was listening to our conversation.
This tastes so good.
Amane was wolfing down a Neapolitan pasta lunchbox, and Kotori and I both had a face that seemed to say, whoa, and looked on in amazement. Why would we say whoa?
Well, to see such a beautiful girl do something like that, I feel really disappointed.
Oh, she didn't know that when she was eating ice cream like a crazy idiot, I had the same reaction when I was watching her. By the way, the thing that Amane was eating was the lunchbox that I had brought. As usual, the boarders hadn't eaten the breakfast I'd made for them, so I packed it as my lunch. I had made 2 lunchboxes. One was for me. As for the other one, I thought that if Kotori was going to go to school, she might have found it difficult at lunchtime. So I was worried about her and brought another lunchbox. That's why I was chasing her. If she didn't need it, I thought I might eat them both myself. But she ran away before I could ask her.
But is this okay? For me to eat your whole lunchbox?
Asked Amane. Although she'd already eaten most of it before asking. I've already eaten my one. I was hungry during morning recess, so I had lunch early. Relieved to hear my answer, Amane continues to enjoy the cold Neapolitan pasta.
Woo! This is delicious. It's been a while since I had proper food like this.
Didn't you have anything to eat after I saw you yesterday? I only gave her 1 piece of bread. Amane stopped moving her chopsticks and took a good look at my face.
Could it be that you're the person who gave me bread yesterday?
You've only just realized?
Well, I was concentrating on something yesterday.
She really is weird.
Oh, I see. So this is the second time you've saved me.
She looked at me with eyes that sparkled like a little kid's. If she were a dog, her tail would definitely be wagging like crazy.
I received that food from you approximately 20 hours ago. Prior to that, the last meal I had eaten was roughly 70 hours earlier.
I counted on my fingers. There are 24 hours in a day. That's 3 days ago!
I went to Taioken and ate pork ramen with all the toppings. The soup was rich and delicious.
She recalls this and her face looks like it's about to start drooling. Why don't you eat? Are you on a diet?
I forgot.
Huh?
When I'm thinking about something, I forget everything else. That's because I'm stupid.
Amane replied with pride. I'd prefer it if she didn't compare it to when people forget things because they're hungry.
Are you building this glider?
Yeah,
Are you doing that here?
the Soaring Club used this garage as a clubhouse.
Soaring Club? I wasn't familiar with that name. What's soaring?
Soaring is to fly a glider by riding the rising air currents.
Flying a glider by riding the rising air currents. I kind of get it, but on the other hand, I don't get it. So the aim of the club is to make and fly a glider?
Well, yeah, that's right.
So this garage is used for club activities after all. Even so, it's pretty spacious.
A glider is like an airplane, isn't it? Is it something you can make yourself?
Yeah, I can make it, because it's a man-made object. And there's no reason why you can't make it, right?
I have a feeling that's not what she's asking. However, Amane answered the question in all seriousness.
How do you make it?
Well, rather than explaining it, it's quicker if you actually make one yourself.
Hold up a moment, I said as Amane slurped up the last of the Neapolitan with extremely bad manners. Wiping around her mouth with a tissue, she started rummaging through a desk drawer.
Where did that thing go?
Peeking inside the drawers, somehow I get the impression that Amane is a typical disorganized person. Rather than things being put in, it was more like they were being stuffed in.
Oh, here it is. This is it.
The thing that Amane had taken out was a paper airplane construction kit, made using cardboard.
Okay, try to make one.
Without thinking, Kotori and I looked at each other. I feel that manufacturing a glider and making a paper airplane are completely different things, but for now, I'll try doing as she says. Using glue and a craft knife, in about 10 minutes we had finished the paper plane.
Finished!
All done! Amane takes the plane that Kotori had made and takes a good look. Then she threw it. The paper airplane floated gently as it flew and landed near the wall on the other side of the garage.
It flew straight forward very nicely. It's a good plane.
Kotori seemed embarrassed at being complimented.
There are so many types of airplane. There are jumbo jets, small Cessnas, fighter planes. Then there are paper airplanes, like the one you just threw. But all of them fly based on the same principle.
Paper airplanes and jumbo jets are the same?
Yes, the principles are the same. Using their wings to float on the air in order to fly.
Kotori and I both tilted our heads in puzzlement. We both had a skeptical look on our faces. I can imagine that a light paper plane can fly by riding the wind, but it's hard to imagine that a giant hunk of metal can float in the sky on the same principle. There must be some other method that allows it to fly. Amane goes to pick up the paper airplane that she had just thrown.
I'd like you two to take a good look. Can the two of you see what the difference is between the airplane and this paper one?
The size and material?
Also, whether or not people ride on it?
That's right. Then there is whether or not it has an engine. On the other hand, everything is the same. Here we have the principles of flight. Regular airplanes are made mostly from the same parts as this. First, there's the body. Next are the main wings. The horizontal tailplane. The vertical tailplane. There are a few airplanes that have a somewhat quirky shape, but even in those cases, they still have mostly the same parts, or other parts that fulfill a similar role.
When she puts it like that, I guess she's right. I never paid that much attention to it, though.
By the way, do you know how an airplane floats on the air?
Because it has lift.
That's right. Like the force of a fluid moving over a wing, lift is said to be the vertical component, in accordance with the direction of the flow.
I look baffled, and Amane smiles a little and rephrases that.
In other words, it's the force that makes the wings float up on the air. Lift is created here, on the main wings. When air hits the wings from the front, the airflow divides, going over and under the wings.
I can just imagine the wings cutting the air like a blade.
At that time, there's a difference in the speed of the airflow above and below the wing, and the pressure drops on the side that has the faster airflow.
That's Bernoulli's theorem.
Amane nods, standing beside her. I'm a little freaked out as she easily comes out with a word like Bernoulli. What the hell is that?
We were taught that in class, right?
We didn't learn that at my school. Maybe.
That's why the airplane's wings are designed so that the air flows faster on the upper side. This is in order to lower the pressure on the upper side. By doing this, the pressure on the lower side is higher in comparison, and then the air lifts the wings up.
The air lifts the wings up. It's a phenomenon that's hard to suddenly imagine. So that's Bernoulli's theorem? Amane nodded as if to say yes.
There's one more thing. The air flowing over the top of the wing bends downwards because of the wing's surface, causing downforce behind it.
As she explains, Amane is drawing a cross-section of a wing. According to that, an airplane's wings are flat at the bottom, and the top is shaped like a mountain. So it seems like it is semicircular. Apparently, the air on the upper side flows among the raised surface, and then bends to flow downwards. As for the question of why the air flows along the raised surface, it can only be said that this is because of the nature of the air, or so it would seem.
This downforce, according to Newton's third law, causes the same reaction on the wing, which lifts it in an upward direction.
The reaction lifts up the wing?
When a heavy basketball hits the ground, doesn't it seem like it's floating weightlessly? It's the same as that.
Does that mean when the wing drops in the air, the reaction causes it to float?
So when the lift exceeds the weight of the airplane can fly through the air. For example, it's the same for a jumbo passenger airliner with a total weight of several hundred tons.
Theoretically, that may be so, but I still couldn't imagine how enough lift to cause a several hundred-ton airplane to take off could be created. However, planes do actually fly in the sky.
The main wings that create the lift are the parts necessary to make the airplane fly in the sky.
I don't know if I understand or not. However, I understand that the main wings are the most important part.
Next are the tailplanes, of which there are two types, vertical and horizontal. These are added to stabilize the position of the airplane when in midair. An airplane floats in midair, which is much more unstable than we humans when we are standing on the ground. The one going straight up is the vertical tailplane. This stabilizes lateral movement. The ones extending out sideways, the same as the main wings, are the horizontal tailplanes. These move vertically. In other words, stabilize the up and down movements of the nose. Without this, even a paper airplane won't fly straight.
I see, so that's why they have the small wings on the tail.
Then there's the body. This doesn't have a direct relationship to flying.
But if you don't have this, there's nowhere to attach the wings.
And that is the basic form of an airplane. That hasn't changed since a long time ago. Since the era of the Wright brothers.
Since that long ago? But the Wright brothers were the first people in the world to fly a plane, right? So nothing has changed since the very first one was made?
The Wright brothers were the first to fly using powered flight. Gliders were being flown even before that.
Yeah, I guess so. I always thought that the Wright brothers were the first to fly.
If you know the role of the wings, you should try it on this paper airplane. For example, if you were to bend the vertical tailplane a little, like this,
the plane that Amane threw curved gently as it flew.
Also, if you curve this part of the main wings a little,
she bent the left and right main wings so that they twisted at the back. This time the plane twisted as it flew. Hey, that's pretty interesting. Seeing this, Kotori started to adjust the tail on her own airplane.
Watch this!
Full of confidence, Kotori threw her paper airplane. Whoa! It did a beautiful loop-the-loop before landing. That's cool, it did a loop-the-loop!
This paper airplane is really interesting.
Kotori and I both got really engrossed in adjusting the wings and playing around. Sometimes the paper airplanes display some mid-air acrobatics, and other times they didn't fly at all, and crashed into the ground. However, by trying it for ourselves, we were able to get a real understanding of the roles of the wings. By just changing the shape of the wings a little, you can make them fly in many different ways.
Actual airplanes have many smaller wings, such as ailerons. The aircraft is controlled by adjusting them.
As she explained, Amane moved to the side of the garage. Then, she lovingly laid her hand on the glider.
This glider doesn't have an engine. It is like a bigger and more robust paper airplane. The only thing that has been added is the cockpit.
Kotori and I looked at the paper airplanes in our hands. I imagined riding it and flying through the sky. This is just like the fantasies I envisioned as a kid. The glider in front of me was the real thing.
How about it? You just felt like you could make one, didn't you?
But it doesn't have an engine. How does it fly? Paper airplanes gain thrust by being thrown by people.
By riding the wind.
Both Kotori and I gazed at the white aircraft. That day, we saw this flying from Windmill Hill. Riding the wind. That expression expresses it so perfectly. The way it flew so smoothly and calmly.
Riding the wind.
Amane nods happily.
Then, by riding rising air currents, you can fly anywhere.
Anywhere?
Yes, you can even go above the clouds.
Above the clouds.
Kotori looked at the aircraft with an expression of disbelief. I also couldn't imagine this thing flying above the clouds. Have you been there? Above the clouds?
Well, that's,
Suddenly her mood drops.
I only put it together recently, and finally took it out on a test flight.
It was that time.
Ah! Kotori and I react by exchanging glances.
The wings weren't strong enough, and snapped halfway through.
Huh?
So you mean...
Yeah, it was pretty dangerous. If they had broken completely, I might have fallen to my death in the lake.
She laughed as she spoke.
I have to rebuild them. It's because I'm not so good with my hands. Also, I know some of the instruments are broken, but I'm having trouble getting my hands on the parts.
Why don't you make them yourself?
Kotori said that so easily. At a school where things like this are taught, they have all the equipment you need to make anything. From a screw to an aircraft.
That's no good either.
Amane, with a troubled look on her face, took some broken parts from a drawer.
The diaphragm is one of the parts used to make the airspeed controller. This was a specialist order, and the factory where this was made shut down a long time ago.
Kotori and I gaze at the parts in the palm of Amane's hand. It certainly looks like it wouldn't be easy to make. If it's the kind of thing that can be made in the town factory, there might be something that can be done about it. Amane's eyes light up as I quietly mumble.
Really?
Well, I don't know until I ask, but I know someone like that.
Please! If I don't have this, I'll be in a real fix.
Okay, I'll try asking next time I see him. Can I borrow this?
Thank you! This will be the 3rd time you've saved me.
Whoa! Suddenly she gives me a full-on hug and we're even cheek to cheek.
Thank you, thank you!
You can thank me once I've actually got it.
Oh, yes, I guess you're right. But this includes thanks for lunch. So let me express my thanks one more time.
No, that's enough. Seriously.
Really?
Kotori was sullenly glaring at me. I wonder if this will really fly. Kotori and I both gaze at the glider with the same look on our faces.
By the way, you two, if you're interested in gliders,
The bell rings, interrupting Amane. Amane flinches in surprise and quickly turns her back to us. If we're interested, what is it?
No, it's nothing. Forget about it.
Somehow it seems she's avoiding something. Amane?
What?
Can I come and see you again?
Yeah, of course. If you're interested, come anytime.
I have to bring her those parts as well.
You two, come again.
Sure.
As Kotori nods, Amane grins as she nods back. She's really beautiful, but her smile somehow makes her look like a little kid. Alright, shall we go back to the classroom?
Huh?
I started pushing Kotori's wheelchair and started walking.
Hey, where are you taking me?
The classroom, of course.
No, stop. I'm hungry and I haven't even had lunch yet.
You reap what you sow.
I said stop. Hey, don't push me.
I brought Kotori with me against her wishes and returned to the classroom. I went back to the dormitory and someone called out to me when I was at the gate.
Aoi!
Anchan! When I saw who it was, my level of enthusiasm went up by 500%. Standing there was Anchan. I was thinking about going to see you tomorrow or some when.
I wanted to meet you soon, so I skipped work to come here. It's been a long time, Aoi.
Anchan ruffles my hair. Hey, stop that, will ya? Completely ignoring my attempts to resist, Anchan gives me a noogie, grinding my hair around and round. I think that my hair is probably messed up pretty badly. This is Tatsuya Igarasashi, commonly known as Anchan. He's a childhood friend of Ageha and mine, and is like a really big brother to us. He's much older than us, but we used to play a lot together as kids. Ah, jeez, you're messing up my hair.
Sorry. When I remembered the past, I just couldn't help it.
You haven't changed either, Anchan. Still the same as before.
Hey, that's not a compliment, is it?
Oh, isn't it?
Of course. People can't get stuck in a rut. People change, you know.
What Anchan says is true, but to me, I'd rather Anchan just stay the same as he is now. As I think about that, Anchan all of a sudden has a kind look on his face.
Is your leg okay now?
Yeah, well, enough for everyday life.
I see. It must have been tough.
It's no big deal. I can have a normal life like this. On top of that, I had you there to watch me in the race where I tried my hardest.
That was a pretty good race. You looked pretty cool when you were on the podium.
I came in third, though. In my previous school, I was in the cycle racing club. In the final race of the first grade, I was able to take the third place spot on the podium. It was my best result. For the race, Anchan traveled a long way to come and watch me.
Third place is still amazing.
Yeah. Because of Anchan's kindness, I feel a little tearful. He sensed how I was feeling and started to mess up my hair again. This time, it wasn't so rough.
So now you're the dorm mother of this place, huh?
Yeah,
The Flying Fish Manor. That brings back memories.
we used to play here a lot. We would come sneaking in.
Huh? Oh yeah, that's right.
Huh? That wasn't what Anchan was talking about just now?
By the way, is that girl a boarder here?
Someone was hiding in the shadow of the gate. Kotori! It looked like she couldn't get past because Anchan and I were in the way. She could have just spoke to us normally, but instead she was hiding and watching us.
Hello there, Missy.
Hello.
Kotori was still being cautious but returned the greeting. Then we got out of her way. She went into her composed mode and entered the dormitory.
So, that girl lives here, huh?
You know her?
Yeah, I see her in the town from time to time. There's a big dog near my factory, you know?
Pedigree? There's a big dog that goes by that name. I'm sure it was a St. Bernard.
Yesterday, she was hanging around near Pedigree.
Was she by any chance trying to stroke its head?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. She was giving him food, but that dog only eats food from his owner.
As I thought, that was in the things I want to do list. Stroke the head of the big dog in the neighborhood. It's really scary, but it might be unexpectedly friendly if possible. I'd like to ride around on its back. So she was skipping school to do things like that? Well, I'll forget about Kotori for now.
Anyway, welcome back, Aoi.
It's good to be back, Anshan. I seemed a little embarrassed as I answered, and Anshan grinned at me.
If you have any problems, don't hesitate to ask. I'm your big bro, right?
Parting with those words, Anshan turned to leave. Oh, that's right, Anshan! I know this is a bit too soon, but I have a favor to ask. I took the parts that Amane had left with me out of my bag. Along with it was a memo with the dimensions and so on written down. I need some parts the same as these. Would you be able to get one? Anshan's family run a factory. It's known as a town factory. And it seems that they manufacture special order-made parts. Anshan works there right now. If Anshan can't do it, he might be able to use his other connections with other engineers to introduce me to other factories. Anshan looks at the broken parts in the memo.
A diaphragm, huh? Yeah, okay.
He quickly answered.
I'll contact you once I get my hands on it.
Thanks, Anshan.
No problem.
Anshan raised one hand and turned to leave. Thanks to the fact that I was able to meet Anshan, I went back to my room in a good mood. I put my hands on the saddle of the bicycle in the corner of the room. I'm proud to have been able to stand on the podium in front of a buddy like Anshan.
That looks like an expensive bike.
Before I realized, Kotori was next to me. What are you doing here?
I came in here with you, didn't you realize?
I hadn't realized. Do you want something? Without answering my question, Kotori opened a drawer in the desk.
In here? Maybe not. How about in here?
It looks like she's searching for something.
Not here. That's strange. I was sure you'd have it.
There was nothing I didn't want her to see, so I was unfazed when I questioned her. What are you doing?
Looking for something. You can see that, can't you?
I know, but shouldn't you at least get the consent of the owner of the room?
What about you? Give it back now. I know you've got it.
Got what?
It's...
Apparently she was looking for the withdrawal notice that I picked up before. I don't know what you're looking for, but I don't think it's in here.
You definitely sound suspicious. There's no mistaking it. I know you have it.
Did you say something?
No.
Seems like her search has come to a stop. However, Kotori isn't leaving the room and continues looking around the room.
This is the first time I've been in a boy's room. It's pretty tidy, isn't it? I expected there to be trash everywhere.
I don't have many things. Thanks to that, moving house was easy. Kotori was staring at the bike, which gave off a unique presence in my room.
What happened to your leg?
I panicked at being asked so frankly. It's no big deal. Looks like she was listening to my conversation with Anshan. I just had a bit of an injury, but look, it's fine now. I lightly swing my leg to show her.
Is the injury the reason why you changed school?
It's fine, really. Why do you ask?
No reason. I just felt like it.
There's no need for you to worry about it.
Who said I was worried about you? I'm not worried. Not even a tiny bit. See you later. That was a waste of time.
Kotori makes a straight face and goes back to her room. You're going again tomorrow, aren't you?
Huh?
To the garage? At lunch?
I'm
not going, is what it felt like she was going to say.
I am going.
She answered and panicked as she left my room. Looks like I should make 3 lunchboxes this time.
Everyone, the new member is here!
Welcome to the Literature Club. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Seriously? You brought a boy?
Ah, Jay, what a nice surprise!